Hey guys, this is New Sensei. If you're in a position where you are going to buy your first bow, then you are likely to spend a bit of money on a simple wooden recurve like these. This is a Samick Sage, this is an OMP Adventure 2.0. Hang on a moment. They kind of look really similar, don't they? This is because they're both Samick bows. Some companies do have permission to rebrand Samick models under their own brand names. So that's why you see bows like the Fleetwood Sage or the OMP Adventure, which is really the Samick Sage and the Samick Polaris respectively. So if you see certain reviews or images of bows which look very familiar, they are very likely rebranded Samicks. And because Samicks are so popular in the beginner market, you will see this sold on eBay, on Amazon, and various archery stores under different names, but they're actually the same bow. The one I'm holding here, as I said before, is the Adventure 2.0, which is a rebranded Samick Polaris, and this was provided for me by huntingbow.com, and I used this to demonstrate the Buying Your First Bow series. So today I'm actually going to review this particular bow, whether you call it the Samick Polaris or the OMP Adventure. This should give you insight as to what to expect if you want to buy this bow. The Polaris, or whatever you call it, is a typical example of an entry-level wooden takedown recurve bow. It is a three-piece bow with detachable limbs, and it is a fairly common bow for beginners and for some archery clubs in their beginner programs. The riser is made from a light-coloured laminate wood with a darker tone on the front and a decorative red stripe through the middle. The riser has bushings to mount on a standard recurve sight, as well as a larger bushing for a plunger button, screw-in rest, or other accessory. There is also a bushing in front of the grip for a stabilizer, should that be something you want to use on your bow. The limbs are held together using screws, which can be turned and removed by hand. This is a standard for takedown recurves at this level, and while it does have the convenience of being removable for transport, the effort involved in using the screws is more than it looks. As you can see here, the limbs are a simple wooden laminate. The branding on the limbs varies on which model you have, with differences between the Samick and OMP lettering and placement. The common factor is that the limbs are painted white. In fact, you can see the brushwork on the limbs. The finish isn't exactly that of an Olympic recurve or the glossy finish of a top traditional bow. Oh, and in case you're wondering, the Samick Sage limbs are interchangeable with the Samick Polaris limbs. Since we're on the topic of the Samick Sage, buyers might be deciding between whether to buy the Polaris or the Sage. Both bows are similarly priced and have a similar shape and design. Apart from the obvious color difference, there's one subtle thing I noticed. The grips are slightly different. The Sage has a slightly thicker grip, at least around the bottom, so the bottom fingers sit a little further out, unless you have a big hand. The grip on the Polaris curves slightly towards the archer, presenting a slightly smaller surface area and settling the fingers more comfortably along the riser. Let's do some shooting with the OMP Adventure or the Samick Polaris. I am using 25-pound limbs for this particular model. This is what I used in the demonstration. So you won't notice the sweet sound that a strong bow will make, and you will notice the string oscillate a bit more. That's to be expected from a lower poundage bow. I will be using the same gold tip traditionals which I used in my previous videos. These 600 spine arrows at about 26-inch length or 27-inch length will be way too stiff for this particular bow. This is more appropriate at my draw length for around a 45-pound bow, whereas this is 25 pounds. So it won't fly particularly well, but you will see the bow in action. You know, I haven't shot this for quite a while, and it feels nice coming back to it. Nice, simple bow. Very beginner friendly. And why do I say that? It's simple. There's no fancy metal parts, there's no space age materials. It's a simple wooden bow. And it's a well-made one too. Unlike other models of beginner bows, I do find that the wood pattern is actually quite aesthetically pleasing. Most of the beginner bows have very simple one color wooden risers, whereas this one does have that two-tone wood color. So you can see the dark wood there and the lighter wood, as well as that red stripe, which I know red stripes do make things look more appealing. But yeah, it does look nice, it does feel nice, and it shoots well. This is the standard for the entry-level bows. There's a reason why the Samick Polaris and its rebranded models are very well recommended and very popular on Amazon, eBay, as well as archery stores. This is unlike the Samick Sage, which does have a very large Amazon and eBay presence, whereas the Polaris is a little more subtle. I mean, it's been around for quite a while, but because the Sage is so over-recommended, a lot of people overlook bows like the Polaris. So why would I pick the Polaris over the Sage? The Polaris, in my opinion, is more typical of a beginner bow, whereas the Sage is more like an entry-level hunting bow. The Sage was really meant for field and hunting. The dark color, the black limbs, and the fact that you can get high poundage bows and shoot with fast fight strings, it kind of pushes the archer to do more field or hunting style archery. Whereas the Polaris, in my opinion, is more appropriate to backyard or target range shooting, because again, the white limbs, the big branding, the lighter color, and this normally only comes in lower draw weights. I'm not sure how capable this bow is in terms of using higher poundage limbs. There is a maximum limit. I'm not sure if the particular wood on the riser can handle the stress of high poundage limbs. This doesn't disqualify the Sage as a low poundage option. You can get low poundage limbs for the Samick Sage, and you can always use Polaris limbs on the Sage and vice versa. So in my opinion, the main difference is the look and design. This is more of a bright kind of target range look, whereas the Sage is more of a dark field look. I do like the grip just a bit better. It suits my hand shape and size, so I do find it easy to control the bow on release. So I find the Sage a little chunkier. If you've got slightly larger hands, then the Sage is somewhat better, whereas the Polaris seems to suit the average size hand, and that can be a tilt factor in one way or the other. But overall, the Samick Polaris, or the OMP Adventure, is a solid bow. There's nothing wrong with it per se. It's what you pay for. It's a good, solid starter bow. And if you only want to buy one simple bow, which you can use, or somebody else in your family can use, the Polaris is a safe bet. There's just nothing wrong with it. And I really think this is the minimum benchmark for your own bow. I wouldn't really go any cheaper or lower quality than this. This is a sound investment for starting out in archery and pursuing it on a casual level. Anyway, this is New Sensei. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.